right, Matt. It finally happened yesterday, my brother. He found himself a home. He is now in Carolina. What did you think about the Baker Mayfield trade?
I think for Carolina, why not? You gave up nothing, essentially. Look,
Yeah.
I look at it like really they might have almost gained something. They get a year to evaluate Baker Mayfield and their offense and their scheme with their players. If they like him, they can extend them or they can tag him. If they don't, if it doesn't work out, he'll leave. They'll get a compensatory pick, and they'll literally have lost nothing but $5 million this year. For Cleveland, it's a disaster of an outcome in terms of asset management. I reached out to people around the league yesterday, and I had one front office person literally say to me, the Browns showcase terrible asset management. And I think it's a perfect way of putting it. Like they turned the first overall pick into a guy who got them a 2024 fifth round conditional, and they're eating $10.5 million. When he plays against them in week 1, they're paying 2/3 of his paycheck in that game. So you couldn't have done much worse. I think if you knew you were going to trade him, if you knew you were going to move him after last season, okay, fine. Then trade him at the beginning of the offseason when guys like Carson Wentz were going for day 2 picks. Like, that's when you move him. They waited forever, backed themselves into a corner.
They probably weren't willing to eat the salary. Carolina kept telling them, no, you got to eat, you got to eat, you got to eat.
Right.
And they weren't willing to eat. And then finally they said, well, training camp's right around the corner. You hungry? Because we got to eat. And so they finally sat down and ate.
You're right. But I just wonder, if they had done this in March, maybe Washington would have taken Mayfield over Wentz. Washington took his whole salary. Washington took a bigger salary with Wentz than they would have with Mayfield. Mayfield's younger. Maybe there's even a little more upside there. I don't know. I don't know that for a fact. But my overriding point with Cleveland is Mayfield, for all of his issues, 2 of his 4 years in Cleveland are pretty good. I mean, he's won the only playoff game in Cleveland since the end of the Reagan administration. Yeah. So at some point, you turn that into a 2024 fifth-round conditional. That's brutal. That is, you basically lost him for absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And really, it was more about getting the headache out the door is kind of the way they look at it, because that's the way it was going to be. If you kept him around, it was going to be a headache. It was going to be a talking point. If you don't trade him and even if you don't have him report, the media is going to ask about him.
Sure.
And so you wanted to kill that storyline. So I get all of that. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Do I deal with the storyline, Matt, if it gives me a better chance to win? Because now I've got to play with Jacoby Brissett. And that locker room knows that you just went with the lesser quarterback now. Okay, so we lost Deshaun. The locker room's saying, okay, so we lost Deshaun. Well, Baker's better than this guy. So now we got to – and you know how it is, dude. You've been in these locker rooms like I have. Guys, when they see that you're making decisions that are not in the best interest of winning, you start to lose people in that locker room. And so that's going to be a hell of a job for Stefanski to keep that locker room together playing behind Jacoby Brissett.
It is. You're right. You're 100% right. And I look at it too. I date it back to last season. So say whatever you want about Baker. And I've said here and other places, I'm not a huge Baker Mayfield guy, but he played through a lot of pain last year in an effort to win games. And you could argue whether that was smart, not smart, whatever. Guys in the room respect that. Guys in the room see him on the training table every day. They see what he's going through. They respect that kind of effort, especially out of a quarterback who's getting paid, who doesn't need to be out there trying to get another contract. Like, they know that guy's taken care of.
Right.
And yet he's on the field. And the Browns threw him under every tire of every bus they could find in the offseason, including making the commentary that they wanted to find a real leader at the position. And no one out and signed the guy for $230 million who was facing 2 dozen civil suits. That's not a great look for anybody. And there are absolutely going to be players in that team who are looking around going, they threw that guy under a bus. And now we're sitting here and we have no quarterback because they traded Mayfield and Deshaun Watson is going to be suspended for a length of time here.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that they decided to pay a record-setting amount of money to has never played it down here, did not play at all last year, is facing all kinds of gross allegations. Yeah, you're going to piss a lot of people off in that locker room. I mean, that's just a point of fact at this juncture.
Yeah, it's you wonder also because you've made so many moves. It gets to a point where you're just playing for the money and you're not playing for winning because you're looking at the front office and the coaching. You're going, what the hell are these people thinking? What are they doing? Well, screw it, bro. I'm getting paid. I don't care. So I'm just gonna cash my check. And it's a shame because, like you just said, here's a team that's won one playoff game since the Reagan administration, which was a great line on your part. And you got to get things right. And it looks like you got a pretty damn good team, and you can't make the right quarterback decision because, I mean, all of us that watch and follow this sport, we look at that Cleveland roster and we got to say, hey, I know you guys have been a disaster, but nice job with that roster. That's a hell of a roster. Now, can you fix the damn quarterback position? Because you're right there, man.
Well, you're in Miami. Like everything runs from the top down in organizations.
Yes.
It does. Not to stray from the NFL, but like look at Pat Riley with the Heat. That team will always be good when Pat Riley's involved. It will always be good. Maybe year where it's down here, there, transition. They will be good year in and year out. The Browns are run like a circus. And when you run like a circus, the circus comes to town. Okay. And the Browns, you're right. That roster has a lot of talent on it. The problem is, even if they got the quarterback on the field right with Deshaun Watson, there is so much else going on that it's very hard to win. There's no focus. There's no collective drive. There's no togetherness. And you said it earlier, and you're right. Like there are a lot of times, there are these teams that are losing, these teams that have lost for a long time. It does become, look, I'm going for 1,000 yards this year, and I'm going to go get paid, and I'm going to get out of here. I mean, that happens all the time. Like if you watch the end of the season in the NFL, the last 4 or 5 games of the year when teams are starting to really be out of it, you will see all the time guys just make business decisions. They could hit a guy. I'm going to pull up a little bit. You wonder in Cleveland, if things don't get off to a good start, does that really snowball? Do you start seeing guys making business decisions come like late October?
Right.
Because they just don't want to, they have no belief in the organization. That's a real thing. That stuff happens.
I'm with you there. All right, so Baker goes to Carolina, and Bob McAdoo did not have favorable words about Baker Mayfield coming out of the draft. So now he's going to walk into a room where he knows the guy doesn't believe in him. So now that becomes a hurdle there. I will say this for Baker. If he wants to sell himself, forget about the play. Of course, you got to sell yourself, dude, on the field, and you got to be a playmaker. But I think you also, I don't know if he's figured this out, but he needs to also sell himself as a person, as a leader, as a teammate, all these kind of things. So whatever happened with Bob McAdoo now, he's got to compartmentalize that and put it aside and show that he can rise above something like that. Because if he allows all this pettiness to get in the way, then he's just getting in his own way of actually moving forward. Because you made some great points earlier that, he played hurt. So he sacrificed. He showed you that he's willing to sacrifice for you. All right. Well, now the next thing is, dude, we need you to be a leader. We need you to be able to, handle the locker room and handle adversity the right way, all this thing. I mean, the first time that they just talked to Deshaun, he lost his shit. You know what I mean? Remember that? He lost his shit right away. And it was one of those where, look at Tua, dude. Look at Tua for a year and a half. He had to hear Watson, 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 Watson. And at no point did that kid ever lose his stuff. He kept it straight. He understood the business. He kept going. And he knew he had a coach that freaking hated him. And he never lost his stuff throughout the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So this is actually a really good moment for Baker to not just show that he can play, but also show that he can be a professional.
Yeah, it's a huge part of it. Look, I mean, I think kind of the rep around the league is that he's been immature. Well, he's got an opportunity to prove that he can grow. The bottom line in the NFL is it's what have you done for me lately? If he goes out and has a great year in Carolina, he's going to get paid. Whether it's in Carolina or somewhere else.
Amen.
He's going to get paid. Like that's look, the NFL is a bottom line business. If he goes out and he handles himself in a good manner off the field, in the locker room, on social media, and he goes out and he throws for 4,200 yards and 30 touchdowns, he's a 20-something-year-old quarterback. He's going to get paid a fortune. Like that's how this is going to work. So if I'm him, I'm saying, look, I don't love the offensive line, although they did draft Ike Ekwonu, who I think will be very good for them. But they have weapons on this team. They've got Christian McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. Like, go ball out. Go play well. The division's not great. I mean, Tampa's a very good team, but the other two teams, New Orleans is okay. Atlanta's terrible. Go win a bunch of games. Conference is the lesser of the two. Go prove everybody wrong. Go shove it down Cleveland's throat week 1. Go throw for 400 yards against Cleveland the first game of the year and get off to a good start. And then go, which I expect him to, by the way. And then go from there. Like, I think if you're Mayfield, as frustrating as this has all been, you have a huge opportunity. Your next 17 games are going to define you. Look, I've seen all this stuff about, well, he's got to beat out Sam Darnold. Look, he's starting for this team. Sam Darnold stinks. There is no way Sam Darnold is beating out Baker Mayfield. Okay, you hear all this like, well, he's been impressive so far this offseason.
Oh, please.
They saw him last year. And if they thought he was any good, they wouldn't have traded for Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield is going to start. He's going to get his opportunity. Now he's got to go out, and he's got to prove it. And if he does, he's going to be a very rich man come next offseason.
All right. So for many years, Saban has, whenever he talks about his NFL run, it always goes back to that quarterback stuff and what happened with Drew Brees. And he says, it wasn't my decision. It was the doctor's decision and this and that. And he went with Culpepper. And so everybody always talks about, well, his one failure was, that he couldn't get the quarterback. He did go 9-7 here 1 year with Gus Frerotte. So you figure if he had Drew Brees, he probably wins 11 or 12 games instead. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it might be right. So here's what I have for you, Matt Verderame from Fansided. Will Matt Rhule say the same thing by the end of this coming season when he's headed back to college football after they fired him and they give him a whole bunch of money to walk away? Is Matt Rhule, whenever he goes back to college somewhere, going to say, yeah, if you want to succeed in the NFL, you better get yourself a quarterback. That's what I know. And that's what Saban knew. Is that what Matt Rhule's going to say?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, I went through the exercise yesterday of ranking the quarterbacks, and I did so just to see, like, where do I think Mayfield actually sits? And I had him like 19th. I don't.
You put him in front of Tua, didn't you?
I did. Yes, I did. Tua's like 23rd or something.
Damn, bro.
Go out and prove it. Go out and play well.
He will. He will. I'm not worried about it. I know.
I had Mayfield like 19th. I think I had him behind like Mac Jones or something. And I wanted to see like, look, I think he's an average quarterback, which, by the way, is not like terrible, but it's not something you're overly excited about. But if you're
I could never be average in the NFL. So
right. I'd take the snap once and I'd be in an ambulance.
Right.
I just think with Matt Rhule, like, what has he shown that makes you think he's going to be a really good coach in this league? And I get they haven't had the quarterback. I understand that. But it's not like you look at the rest of that team and go, man, if they just had a quarterback, they'd be great. They haven't been particularly good defensively. They haven't been good in situational football. They've just kind of been there. They've not been a good team. So Mayfield gives them a chance. Mayfield gives them a chance in that conference to win 9 games and be a wild card team. But do I think they're going to be? No, I still think they're probably the 10th or 11th best team in that conference. I don't think they're an upper echelon team by any means. I don't even think, like, do I think they're better than Philly? No. Do I think they're better than Minnesota? No. San Fran, Arizona? No. Like, I don't think they're as good as those teams. Are they as good as New Orleans? I don't think they are. I would take New Orleans. So, yeah, I think at the end of the day, Rhule's probably going to end up changing the dresses at the end of the year. And every time he talks about it privately, he's probably going to say, if I just had a quarterback, I could have made it work. Well, should have gotten one. It didn't work out.
Yeah, that's interesting there. We'll see what happens with that. All right, Deshaun Watson, what are you hearing overall? Because I know they're trying to talk settlement and all that kind of stuff. And I know in the end, if I'm right, Matt, the commissioner has the final say when it's all said and done. No matter what the independent judge says, if he doesn't agree, he says, "Yeah, no, 12 is not enough. He's gone for the year it is." And I almost get the feeling that that's what the NFL wants. That if they don't get their way this time, they're trying to protect themselves from all kinds of embarrassment since they've already been through enough already with this one.
Yeah, you wonder, Sue Robinson was the disciplinary officer in this case, and you just wonder with the NFL, like they've been waiting and waiting and waiting to make a move, and I think a lot of us thought they'd do it right before July 4th weekend. That didn't happen. Now you start hearing that, well, it's not going to happen until next week. Although with these things, it's so fluid, you never can really tell. But that seems to be the thought. It'd be next week, right before camp. I think if you're the NFL, you have to understand that if you suspend them for any less than a full season, you are going to get crushed nationally. Absolutely crushed from every corner of the globe. You're going to hear it. Now, maybe the NFL says, look, we don't care, but I think they care about something.
Oh, yeah, no, I think this one they do.
They care. Yeah. Because this isn't just a football story.
Yeah.
This is a national story.
Yeah.
And they are very image conscious when it comes to this stuff.
Well, dude, it's been graphic.
Yeah,
this is the most graphic story we've heard in a long time. You know what I'm saying?
And very ugly.
The details have been really bothersome. We've seen women physically in front of us, emotionally broken down from all of this. There are so many layers to this that if you just look at it as a football story, then you're being incredibly ignorant as a league.
You are. And I think, we've talked a lot about this over the last month. I believe, and I've believed for months, I think he's going to get suspended indefinitely. I do.
That's what I think.
I still feel that way. I think at least he's going to get suspended for the year. I've seen people say, well, 6 to 8 games. If he gets 6 to 8 games, they are going to get hammered into oblivion.
Yeah.
And they should be, for the record. They should be. So, the one thing I do wonder, that Mayfield trade yesterday made me wonder, do the Browns know what the suspension is going to be? Because, they
No, they don't want to deal with this. They don't want to deal with this. And I don't think Mayfield also is not very smart in this sense. This is where he hasn't matured, like what you were talking about. A matured quarterback says, hey, guys, I understand you're going through a tough one, but listen, the best thing is let's put everything aside and I stay here and I'll be my best and I'll do my best and I'll be a good soldier, because he should have negotiated everything possible to stay there. He should, hey, I'll take a pay cut and everything, because this would have given him the best stage to showcase his skills. And he screwed up. Now he's got to go to Carolina where, dude, now you've got to work with a head coach that all the pressure of the world is on that guy to win. So everybody is pressured at that moment right there. He's not walking in to a comfortable situation. So I think that Cleveland and Baker, they needed to have this divorce. Here's the follow-up I have for you. It's not so much that Cleveland knew about the Deshaun thing. I'm wondering now, Matt, is there a veteran quarterback available that they think could get them by now? And that's why they also opened up the roster spot, because now they can go get some kind of a veteran that might be available. And that's what I would ask you. Is there a veteran out there that the Browns can say, all right, we're not going to win with Jacoby Brissett. We got a hell of a team. Can we find a veteran that can help us keep this ship afloat?
It's a good question. I mean, the only guy I think that's out there that you would say is an upgrade over Brissett is Garoppolo. And the question becomes like, now he's doing a lot of money. I think it's $28 million against the cap this year. The Browns are paying a fortune in quarterbacks. The Niners are going to have to basically eat the
Well,
money.
actually, they're not. Actually, they're not. Because Deshaun's salary is minimal this year. So they actually got a break in that sense. And they just unloaded half of Baker's salary. So they're only carrying 10 and a half. You can't be paying Jacoby. So actually, this 1 year, they're not really that cap strapped in the quarterback spot. I'm sure they are with the rest of their talent because, man, they're loaded. Maybe the question, would San Francisco eat a portion to trade him to Cleveland?
So right now, the Browns actually, to your point, and you're correct about this, because like I forgot that the Browns, you're right. I had a momentary lapse and forgot that with the Browns, they are only paying $1 million in base salary. So that does change it. The question becomes, they don't have any of their picks, at least their first round picks. Now, of course, you're not going to give that up for Garoppolo. My point is, are you willing to give up more picks for a guy you're going to have for a year, right? Because if you're the Niners, you're probably asking for a mid-round pick. You know, you're probably asking for a fourth, something like that. Now, maybe if you're the Browns,
you just got a 5 from Carolina, right?
Right. So, I mean, but it's a conditional and it's 2 years from now. So are you willing to do that? Do you think Garoppolo gives you that much of a higher ceiling in the AFC where you're going to have to go against Mahomes and Allen and Burrow and Jackson and Herbert and Wilson and Ryan and I mean on and on.
And by the way, let me to kill my idea right now on the Garoppolo thing. How about this? Or you brought up the Garoppolo, but to kill it all, they don't have the dysfunction in San Francisco that they have in Cleveland.
No,
and they're not paying Trey Lance either because his salary is a rookie contract. So, worst case scenario for San Francisco, they also can say, well, if we don't trade him, Jimmy's a good dude. He's not going to be disruptive here. We might need him, man. Trey may not be ready, and we can still win with Jimmy.
Yeah.
So, in a way, they don't have the dysfunctional situation. They don't have a desperation to get rid of him this year. It would be a luxury to get rid of him this year, but they could also use him as a backup plan. So that's where San Francisco isn't in the same rut as Cleveland.
They're not. They're well run. And also with the 49ers, I've seen people say, well, they need to trade him to get the pick. Well, if they let him walk at the end of the year, they're going to get a compensatory pick for him anyway.
Right.
So it's not as though they're that desperate in that regard. And they're a team with Super Bowl aspirations. I mean, they're a team that feels like they can get there. If Lance, as you point out, look, if he got hurt or if he's not particularly good, you have Garoppolo, who may not be great, but he's gotten in the NFC title game 2 of the last 3 years. You say whatever you want, but the guy wins. He's one of
he can play. It just seems like he can't make that throw that you need or the injury, but he can play.
He's a decent player. So the question becomes, like, I honestly think Cleveland's just going to go with Brissett at this point. I do. I think that's just where they're going to go. They're going to run the ball like crazy. They're going to hope that Jacoby Brissett can basically be Alex Smith for a year. And I don't think he can be for a whole season, especially in a conference where you're going to have to really play well offensively to win. I mean, that division they're in, Pittsburgh doesn't have a quarterback that we know of yet. I mean, Pickett's unproven, but defensively they're great. And they're really well coached. And you know with Cincinnati and Baltimore, those teams, Cincinnati's going to score 1 million points a game. And Baltimore's always a pain in the rear end to beat. So, you know, Cleveland with Brissett, I don't think has any shot at making the playoffs. I don't.
No,
I mean, with Garoppolo, they can make the playoffs.
They can make the playoffs with Garoppolo.
I don't think they can win the Super Bowl. They can make the playoffs with him.
No, I don't think Garoppolo takes you to the Super Bowl and wins it, but I think he's good enough to get you to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think he is. So I think, but that's to me the only real option for Cleveland if they don't want Brissett to start and Watson gets suspended. Other than that, I think you just traded your other option. So
and remember, you traded your picks, so you're really playing to try to win. Losing doesn't help you. You're helping the other team that got your picks.
I also wondered too on this briefly. Like we've talked a lot about their dysfunction. The Haslams have a long history of firing coach after coach after coach after coach. is Kevin Stefanski quietly on the chopping block? If they go 7-10 this year, would they fire him?
God, I personally would not
I
blame
wouldn't. I
them.
think he's excellent.
Yeah,
But
he's
this
done
is
a really
Cleveland.
good job. Yeah, I
This
know.
is Cleveland. Like,
No,
I
you're right.
wouldn't either. I'm 100% with you. I think he's done a great job. I wouldn't fire him under any circumstance based off of the situation he's been put in.
Yeah.
But could I see Jimmy Haslam week 17, if they're out of it and they stink and there's 15,000 empty seats in
Well, he's
Cleveland?
stupid enough to do it, yes.
Right. Could I see
He's
him?
I'm sorry. He's hot-headed enough to do it. That's what he
Could I
is.
see
'Cause
him
he's
saying, "Hey, it's not my fault. It's his
Yeah.
fault." Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, no normal organization would even consider that, but they have a long-standing history of making rash, inaccurate decisions, and I don't think he would get fired. But let's put it this way: if I was Kevin Stefanski, I would be trying to do everything I possibly could to win, because you don't know what's happening
yeah.
upstairs in Cleveland. You never do.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 1,000% there. Just out of curiosity, have you caught any of Tyreek's podcasts with not just the two of them, but after with Waddle? Did you catch any of that?
I haven't with Waddle. I did catch a decent amount of it with Tua. Obviously, some of the stuff out of that has made headlines. He's going to be washing dishes at 2:00 and all these different things. Look, I'll say one thing about the Dolphins, one way or the other this year. They're going to be very interesting to watch, because if Tua goes out and plays great and Tyreek's great and they make the playoffs, they're going to have a lot of juice. And if Tyreek doesn't play up to expectation, there's going to be a whole lot of talk about why and what happened. And he, for better or worse, he's drawing a lot of attention to the Dolphins this offseason.
Yeah, the one thing that I will say, because if you watch the Waddle one, oh, wait a minute, can you play it, Sean? You have one of the sound bites. We can play it for Matt. He can hear them, because basically in the sound bite they talk about like what they see behind the scenes that they don't understand what people talk about with Tua. And one of the things that I've gotten already over the last couple of weeks from these guys, Matt, you've been around this. When somebody like Robbie Anderson is defending his quarterback, it's one of those one-liners, light defense, move on. Oh no, he's a good dude. No, yeah, he's a good player, and they move on. These guys have gone deep into elaborating and talking. Like, you could tell it's not just a sell job, it's what they really believe. And look at this exchange between Waddle and Tyreek. Listen to this. Go ahead, Sean. Thank you.
KD account, and then I'm gonna troll people.
Wait.
Me and J Dub gonna create fake Twitter accounts.
It be so much I be wanting to say. Right. How do y'all deal with that? Like, how do you deal with that? Like, you see it.
I think it's
y'all
funny,
at
though.
practice, but you don't want to speak on it like you said. It remains to be seen. Y'all just gonna let y'all on the field play show.
Bro, it's just like a horror movie, bro. It's just like suspense, bro. You gotta get that build up, just like all of the clips they've been releasing and stuff like that. You just can't show it all.
Right.
Like, that's why I really believe they like showed that clip of Tua underthrowing me, just to get people talking, because they really know what Tua capable of for real. Like, there's a plan behind everything, bro.
Right.
That's the way I look at it. I don't know.
What's your name, Jalen? They got a plan. They're trying to bury the man.
I ain't gonna lie. That boy looks scared right now.
He's scared.
It looks scared right now.
Look, answer this, and you ain't got to give us everything. Tua last year going into this year, how does he look?
I'm not gonna sugarcoat what's called it, bro. It's been him. Like, he been that guy since
Alabama.
Since Alabama. Like, he's been that guy. He's been the same guy. He's gonna come in consistent, accurate. He's gonna make the throws he's supposed to throw. He's gonna show out, be a great leader. He's gonna be all that. Like, so it's no real like big. I'm not seeing no big like when the plays he be making in practice.
So it's nothing new.
It's like, bro, I've been seeing,
Like,
bro.
duh.
I've seen, but it's like, I'm gonna be happier when everybody else get to see it.
Oh, man.
When everybody else get to see what I already know, who's been like. So I'm just excited for that. For not even for me, but for him. Like,
For him, bro. people don't be understanding, bro. Sometimes, bro, like I just like to see other people happy, bro.
Right.
Oh,
I swear, ain't nothing like seeing somebody else happy, bro. Especially like,
he good.
man,
Dude.
he's a good dude too, though.
Like one nicest people you'll meet.
Right.
Like for real.
There you go. So you could tell that it's not just a half-ass sell job that everybody does for their quarterback, no matter who you have, if it's Cleo Lemon or Ryan Tannehill or any of the guys that we've had here. Yeah, they talk about their guy in passing. They like him. They like playing. These guys, you can tell they truly believe. Now, here's a caveat to all of this, Matt. He has to be the healthiest he has been now because he's 2 years removed from the hip. He's also, I truly believe he has a real offensive coordinator, and play design and everything will be a big part of this offense where it wasn't the last couple of years. There was no imagination. There wasn't any proven offensive coordinators. You had Changeli a couple of years ago, but last year's group was a mess. You had 3 guys deciding a play every 40 seconds to relay it to Tua. How do you have the 3 Stooges arguing about what play to run? I mean, that's nuts. So I think there's a lot of things. I talked about this earlier on the show. Tyreek is also stepping into a moment where he's seeing maybe a real coaching staff compared to the shit that was there last year that Waddle saw. And maybe that's why Tyreek is seeing a better picture overall because he wasn't really involved in the mess last year.
It's possible. Look, this is, I mean, obviously, I'm not telling anybody anything that you don't know. This is a huge year for Tua. Like if he's not good this year, he's gone. He's got. They have 2 first-round picks next year. They'll draft a quarterback. They'll trade him. So, his talent at Alabama was exceptional. I mean, you're talking about a guy who wasn't just good; he was phenomenal. He has dealt with injury. He has dealt with horrible offensive lines. He has dealt with a lack of weaponry around him. We'll see about the offensive line, although they seem to have upgraded, certainly with Armstead, as long as he's healthy.
And Connor.
And Connor Williams, right. But they've given him weapons. I mean, Gesicki, Hill, Waddle, that's a real group, okay? I mean, that's
Cedric Martin. Cedric also is a 6'2" slot.
Right. Bring him in.
Think about it. You gave a short quarterback a big slot receiver.
Right.
Very smart.
I mean,
Very
you have
smart.
him. You have Mostert, who I really like as a running back. They have a lot of talent.
And Chase. Yeah.
They're talented. That is a talented football team. I will say this. We're going to find out one way or the other how good he is this year in a lot of ways, as long as he does stay on the field. But I think, look, you never hear anything bad about him as a person, as a teammate, the way he prepares. I mean, nobody's ever said a bad word about him in that regard. I've only gotten to speak to him once. I walked away very impressed. Like, I think as a person, as a teammate, as a worker, I don't think there's any doubt. It's just got to be proven on the field.
Yep. All right, what are you working on over at Fansided, my brother?
Stacking the Box every week on Mondays. You can read it at Fansided. It goes out 6 a.m. Eastern every single Monday. And then on Tuesday, Stacking the Box podcast goes up noon Eastern live on YouTube.
Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame and catch him here when we step into the huddle, the redrecover.com huddle. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Thanks a lot.
There you go. Matt Verderame going around the NFL.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.